Hi, this is Tom Brevoort, and you are listening to the Captain America Comic Fans Podcast.
Greetings, Gap fans. It is episode 131 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Verbanis. How you doing? I've got a co-host here by the name of Bob Lucius. He's the best gosh darn co-host out there. Oh, Bob, take me back, way back home. Not by myself, not alone. I ain't asking for much.
That's what they all say, Rick.
Yeah.
You got me on that one. I know it's a song, right? But what is the song?
I'm going to sing the next two lines, right?
Oh, all right.
Well, I'm not going to sing them. I'm just going to voice them. I said, Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some tush.
Okay. Again, I don't understand. As I've told you, on Tuesday nights, we record the Captain America Comic Book Fans.
Yeah. Oh,
you're
right,
talking.
right.
You're thinking of the Wednesday night podcast.
Oh, welcome to. All right. Yeah, you know that song, right?
I remember it, but I can't.
I'm just looking for some tush.
Yeah, for some reason the name of the performer eludes me.
Oh, come on, Bob. We had this conversation last time we did Castaway in Dimension Z.
We did?
I threw the gauntlet down on myself. I said, my future hellos, as we do parts 2 through 10, is going to tie in with the letter.
Is it ZZ Top?
Z, yes, ZZ Top. I said I'm going to tie it in with the letter Z, which is not easy to do. There's not a lot out there.
I'm more of a sharp dressed man.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, I got a new wallet today, Rick. So
did you really?
Yeah, a friend of mine this weekend had one of those funky metal ones where you slide the cards in. And it's like a brick. Yeah, not like the soft leather one. So I was
it's thinner, right? It's thinner.
It is. Yeah. And it has a little money clip on the side of it, And so I was like, what? This is space age. This is like Jetsons sort of, card carrying. And my wife is like, okay, okay, calm down.
You're like, okay, but a certain new pocketbook. And it's like, right, all right, yeah.
But she ordered me one. So it arrived today and I successfully transferred my cards. And so I'm feeling like a sharp dressed man.
Oh, good for you. So are you the kind of guy, do you sit on your wallet?
I do sit on my wallet.
I hate sitting on my wallet. I refuse to sit on my wallet. So I have, I don't have a trifold. I have a bifold leather, wallet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's overly huge, but everywhere I go,
that's what she said.
Okay. I hurt my tush when I sit on a wallet.
Yeah,
so
you're like leaning to one side like you're on a ship or something.
Exactly. Right, so everywhere I go, I take my wallet out. And so if we go to a restaurant, I take my wallet out, put it on the table.
Yeah.
Well, unless it's wintertime. You wouldn't know this, but where you live. But in wintertime, like I'll have jackets. So I'll put it in the pocket of a jacket. Yeah. But if it's summertime and I'm like wearing shorts or jeans or something like that, and no, I take my wallet out because it's too thick. Now, even if I got one of those newfangled, new aged thin ones that you have, it would still be too thick for me.
Yeah. It probably wouldn't. And it wouldn't.
I know you want to say it.
I'm not saying that. That's what she said. But it also doesn't have those, the soft edges on like a bifold, right? Okay. And so, I mean, it's a sharp brick, it's the size of a credit card, but it's, so that is a drawback, but I'm also a receipt stuffer. So I'm hoping this is going to help me break that habit because my wallet has the whole George Costanza.
Why don't you just have the receipts emailed to you? They do that now.
Do they? I don't want them having my email address. You think I want to like give Burger King my email address?
No, not like Burger King. I mean, no, I'm talking like if, you go into a place and they're like, I mean, hell, I think gas stations do that now. You know, do you want this email to you? Go to Home Depot. Do you want an email to you? I mean, like, it's all over this. Anyway, listen, Mr. Environmental Friendly, why are you wasting paper with all these receipts? You should be getting them emailed.
But you're right. But then I have to print them out.
Why?
Well, because then I got to like staple them to my credit card bill.
Yeah, my goodness. You're kidding me.
And put them in a folder and put them in a filing cabinet and never look at them again unless somebody comes to audit.
So every single one of your credit card charges, you have a printout stapled to your credit card bill?
For work. Yeah. Not for my personal one.
Oh, well, for work. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, you have to put in an expense report. I thought you were talking about your personal. No. Because that would just be crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I use my credit card for everything. I don't use cash hardly ever.
I do. I don't. My wife gives me, okay, she's not listening. So she gives me my $20 a week and I put it in like an envelope in my drawer. And then I just use my debit card, my credit card, whatever. And so that's my stash, my secret stash, like a drawer full of $20 bills. She's like, this is for you. This is your lunch money.
You're like, oh, thank you, dear. You're the best.
No, my son was like, hey, he needed something. So I'm like, let me get you something here. And I pull it. He's like, what the heck is that? I'm like,
shut up.
Shut up. You never saw this. We'll never speak of it again. So
I gotta say, that was not wise of you to show your son where you keep your cash stash.
I know, right?
He now has something to hold over you. Big time.
I know. And he does hold these things.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of ZZ Top, do you have a favorite song? You mentioned Sharp Dressed Man.
Yeah, I love Sharp Dressed Man.
They have so many hits.
They
so
do.
Many good songs.
Do. But for some reason, I told you last week, I hear, was it Salisbury Hill?
Oh, that's Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I hear that like at least every day on my commute home.
Yeah, you said that.
Sharp Dressed Man is another one I hear almost every day.
Okay.
On the radio station I listen to, and I love that song. I remember the video, right?
And great videos, yeah.
Sometimes my son's in the car with me and that song comes on, and I'm like, listen to this. This is important. But not the tie bar or the whatever the heck they're. Somebody's like, forget that piece, forget that item. That one's no longer. Listen to the other ones. This is good advice.
I don't know. Some of their songs are very inappropriate. And they all have sexual overtones, right? Yeah. So there's Give Me All Your Lovin', Legs.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Legs.
Right?
Yeah. I'm remembering these videos.
All right, how about this? Ready? Pearl Necklace.
Pearl Necklace. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
She wants a pearl necklace, right? How about gosh. There's they
were the original Duck Dynasty.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned Legs. Oh, how about this one? Tube Snake Boogie. She does the Tube Snake Boogie. I remember having to ask him, what's a tube snake?
Yeah, what's that? I wonder whatever happened to ZZ Top.
I don't know. That'd be a great song, man.
I would say even back then, so I don't know how.
Well, yeah, the beers will do that to you.
Yeah.
But my two favorite ZZ Top songs, LaGrange. That's a great song. How.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Rumors spreading round. That's a fun song. You're tapping your foot to that song.
Yeah.
And then Cheap Sunglasses.
Cheap Sunglasses. I remember that one too. Yeah.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, ZZ Top. So now I've burned that bridge. So the next time we come back to Castaway Z, I got to come up with something else.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens.
Gauntlet has been thrown. Birthdays, Bob. We got a birthday actually today. Wouldn't say he's a Captain America artist per se. You wouldn't hear this guy's name and go, oh, he's a Cap artist. But he's done some pretty cool Cap work, and that is Mark Brooks.
Yeah, sure. Some great covers. I mean, that guy has done some of the fan favorite covers, right? Some of the best ones out there.
I mean, he did the wraparound cover for Captain America Zero.
right?
He did a very cool, I think about a couple years ago, homage to Captain America Comics #1, Punching Out Hitler. That was very cool.
That was a good one.
And then he's got a really cool 1940s version cover that he did for Marvel Comics 1000.
Love that one.
Yeah. So he's got some good ones out there, and a lot of commissions too.
Yeah. I never actually looked into getting a commission from him. I wouldn't mind that though.
Yeah. So happy birthday to Mark Brooks today. Actually, I have a story I'll have to tell you off air about Mark Brooks. Yeah, I had him as a signing at my comic book store.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day. I want to say 2004, 2005.
Back when in the 2000s.
Yeah. Maybe in 2005, I think it was when I had him, and he was he came to my store for free comic book day, and he did a signing there, and it was a really cool deal because at that time he was doing Captain America. I'm sorry, Cable Deadpool. He was doing, I think, Cable Deadpool, and then he was doing some other book, but then he was doing the all ages Marvel Adventures Spider-Man series. And so one of the free comic book day issues that year was I guess a reprint of Marvel Age Spider-Man #1. So we ordered a ton of these because we knew we were going to have them in the store. It just so happened that that weekend was also the release, I want to say, of Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. Okay. Versus Doc Ock. I want to say it was that same weekend. Well, it was definitely that same weekend. I want to say it was that movie. I don't think it was the first Spider-Man. I think it was Spider-Man 2. And I worked out a deal with the local movie theater, which was less than a mile away down the street from us. And I gave them, like, I don't know, 1,000 copies of this Marvel Adventures Spider-Man #1 reprint. And it had a little label on the cover. It said free, courtesy of Comic Books, etc., which was the name of my store at the time. And it had a website. And then you opened it up and there was a flyer in there. And it was like, bring this comic in to the store, on Saturday from these hours to get it signed by the artist. And, and then a coupon, right? It was a coup. I mean, to do that. So yeah. We had a lot of people come into the store because of that. Mark, very nice guy, gentleman. He and his wife were there, and we gave him the red carpet treatment. Had a blast. He had a really good time, and then there's the sketchbook thing, and I'll have to tell you the rest of that story.
Oh, leaving the folks hanging.
I got it. Yeah. Anyway, what else is? Oh, by the way, I prior to recording this episode, I was talking with my wife, and I was like, I got to come up with a new hello for Bob tonight with the letter Z, and she said, "Why?" I said, "No, that's the letter before."
I love that one.
She just rolled her eyes. She's like, "Oh, yeah, you married me."
Perfect.
Anyway, so if you're listening on the day this episode comes out, it's Wednesday, April 12th. And what just happened a few days ago, we finally ended our Cap Madness bracket for favorite Captain America writer. And we started with 32 writers, and we worked our way down, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4, and then 3 days ago, we named the champion of the bracket. And we just want to say congratulations to the winner for getting the most votes as favorite Captain America writer. Okay, Bob. So we're recording this several weeks before.
Yeah.
We have no idea who it's going to be.
Yeah.
So we should probably pretend and it's somebody and then just go with that.
All right.
What do you think?
Sure.
All right. Who do you think actually is going to win?
I think it is going to be Grunwald.
I do too. I think Mark Grunwald's going to win. All right. So let's go with that. Ready?
All right.
All right. So congratulations to Mark Grunwald.
Amazing. Right? I didn't see that coming.
What do you mean you didn't see it? He's the favorite.
No, of course I saw that coming.
Yeah. Gru won. That's amazing. Fantastic. We're very excited because, he had obviously the longest tenure, 10 years as writer of the Captain America series, and has wrote so many beloved stories, including the Captain storyline, where Steve Rogers gave up being Captain America, which we covered here, Bloodstone Hunt, Streets of Poison, lots of different stories over the years. He introduced so many cool characters. So congratulations, Gru. Well deserved.
Yeah, one of those times where the sentimental favorite and the favorite in terms of not only quantity but quality converges into a single individual.
Indeed, and that was a lot of fun doing that.
Okay. It was.
All right. All right, Bob. Who else do you think might win?
Oh, I think it could be. I think it could be. No, it's not going to be
Ed Brubaker, right?
Yeah. I don't know. You think?
No, he's totally. I'm telling you, it's going to come down to Gru and Brubaker.
Okay. All right.
All right. You want to do Brubaker?
There's a lot of stodgy folks out there, I think.
Yeah. Well, again, we got quality and quantity. That's Ed Brubaker, right?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations to Ed Brubaker.
Way to go, Ed.
You are the favorite Captain America writer as voted by Cap fans in our Facebook group.
So that makes it official.
It does.
Yeah.
It totally does.
Yeah.
So. I mean, he battled through some really tough competition to get here, right? He beat James Robinson, he beat Dan Jurgens, he beat somebody in the
other bracket,
Elite Eight and Final Four. I don't know. But congratulations, Ed. We hope you are pleased with this award, and we would love to have you on the show to give it to you personally.
Yeah. Yep, that would be great. The thing is, I was skeptical that Ed would pull this out, not because he's not great. He's great, right? And he created just a whole body of work that fundamentally, I think, shifted in a lot of people's minds what a Cap story looks like. Just the narrative. And there've been a little, realistic stories before, sometimes dark stories, but he took that to a whole new level and
like Capwolf.
Yeah, like Capwolf, exactly what I was thinking. And of course the Doughboy saga. But God, I'd love to see that. But but he just took it in a whole new direction and did it not only magnificently, but in a way that is memorable. So I'm not surprised. I guess that's who I would have voted for.
Yes, here. Congratulations to Ed Brubaker. That was exciting. All right, who else we got, Bob? Probably what do you think? Mark Waid?
Mark Waid for sure.
Okay. All right, man. Yeah. Okay. Congratulations, Mark Waid, for winning the favorite Captain America writer. And by far, I gotta tell you, he's one of my favorites. I enjoyed all of his runs on Captain America, whether it was the initial run with Ron Garney, starting was it issue 444, where he picked up after Mark Grunwald, whether it was bringing back in volume 3 with Ron Garney to kick that off, or maybe the Sentinel of Liberty series that he did. The Man Out of Time miniseries,
awesome stuff.
Coming back and redoing after the whole Nick Spencer storyline and kind of bringing Cap back into the Heartland, and with the new numbering with the issue 700 with Chris Samney. all that stuff was just fun stuff. I'm a big Mark Waid fan, as you know.
Yeah, I am too. And, maybe this in hard-won victory will be what it takes to get him to backtrack on that commitment to not write Captain America ever again.
I know, right?
Come on, Mark.
I know. He said he would never do it again.
Mm-hmm. But the fans are calling.
Exactly. It's like Sean Connery. Never say never again.
That's right. Yes, right.
All right. So now you pick one and announce it. Just surprise me.
All right. Okay. I think, Rick, I think this, not a surprise to anybody who loves Captain America, but I'm going to go with Steve Englehart here.
No, you're not going to go with it. Just you're going to announce
you're right.
it. You're going to
say,
right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Here's a surprise, Rick, and I think this is going to surprise a lot of folks, but maybe not. I was a little bit surprised, but when it all sorted out, when the dust settled, here we have Steve Englehart.
What? What?
Yeah, I know.
No
right?
way.
Yeah.
I know that was a shocker to me when Steve Englehart won the whole thing. He was kind of like a dark horse. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he did start as the number 5 seed, so it can't be that surprising that he worked his way up. I mean, he beat Peter Gillis, he beat Roy Thomas.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Then he beat J.M. Mateus, and then he beat Mark Grunwald. And then he beat Ed Brubaker. I mean, wow, that's a gauntlet that he went through. I can't believe he did that.
Well, it goes to show the power of a memorable story, right?
That's true.
And I think in this case, we can't deny. I mean, we've reviewed it was one of the first story arcs that we reviewed, right? The Cap of the 1950s story arc. So I think, that's a memorable one that fans of Cap of any generation know that story. And so, that might have been just what it took to put him over the hump and secure the title this year.
I guess so. Well, congratulations, Mr. Englehart. Maybe we'll have you back on the show to give you the award personally. If you really think about it, Bob, a lot of these finalists we actually had on the show. We had Steve Englehart, we had J.M. DeMatteis, we had Mark Waid, and heck, we even had Mark Grunwald's wife, Catherine Schuller Grunwald.
Yeah,
so we've been very lucky. We would love to get Ed Brubaker.
Come on, Ed,
one of these days. But yeah,
don't be that way, Ed.
But all joking aside, it was a lot of fun doing this bracket this year, and we hope everybody else out there had fun too. Please put in your comments on the Facebook page. Let us know if you enjoyed it, if you were excited about who won, if you were disappointed, who did you really want to see out there, and also feel free to put your thoughts in for next year. What topic do you want us to cover next year? We did favorite artist. We did favorite cover. We just finished favorite writer. So what's the next bracket? Let us know.
What is the next bracket? I'm going to have to start thinking about that one myself, Rick. Favorite ad.
Interesting. All right, Bob, should we get to the comic we actually are supposed to cover today?
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
All right. As we are doing the second Wednesday of every month for 10 months straight in a row, we are covering Captain America Volume 7, the first 10 issues, Castaway in Dimension Z. And if you haven't listened to the other episodes where we cover issues 1 and 2, highly recommend you do that. Episode 122 and 126. So listen to those and then come back here and listen to issue 3. So this issue, number 3, had a cover date of March 2013, but it had a release date of January 16th. So it's been out over 10 years now, Bob.
Time does fly, Rick. It's amazing because we both still look so damn good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The creators for this, we have the writer, Rick Remender, penciler, John Romita Jr., inker, Klaus Janson, colorist, Dean White and Lee Loughridge, letterer Joe Caramanga, editor Tom Brevoort. I don't have a solicitation for you this time around, Bob. So sorry.
All right. Well, this time.
How about you describe the cover to our listeners?
All right. Well, what we see, if you recall from the last issue, was what looked to be the leader of this. What are they? Mutates?
Yeah, sure.
There's some sort of mutate. These very large, reddish, muscular beings, and there was one in particular that was the leader. He was sitting on a throne the last we saw him, and he had gotten up and had taken Captain America's shield, and both Steve and Ian were pinned down on their knees, getting ready to have their heads chopped off with the shield. And in this scene, we see that mutate king with Cap's shield, and he is looming large in his golden armor. And Steve is in the foreground. Of course, he's got his cowl off, but his Captain America gear is on, and he's got his long hair and his long beard. And he is
he's like ZZ Top.
He's like ZZ Top, and he is delivering a white cross to the mutate king's jaw. And it's an action shot. And in the back, you see sort of the mutate crowd. They look almost shocked at what is transpiring in front of them. And then in the ground and behind the Captain America logo, we see some sort of explosion going on. It's throwing debris up into the air right in front of Cap and the Mutate King. So it's a great action shot, lots of color, lots of motion, and just a really nice composition.
Yeah, very well put. I actually didn't even pay much attention to those in the background, being surprised. So thanks for pointing that out. And also, Cap's uniform is disheveled, right? It's got some bandages on it, some tears, some stains. So it's obviously, worn down. The logo is it says Captain America. It's actually at the bottom, which is strange, right? Typically the logo's at the top and the creators' names are at the bottom, but for some reason they reversed it and they thought it was more important to put the creators' names at the top. I don't know why. Maybe during that time, Rick Remender and John Romita's name were hot. I don't know, but it's interesting. And I will tell you why typically you don't see that, because for display purposes, a lot of times comics will be in front of each other. So the logo needs to be at the top. So you don't always see the full cover because of, like, for instance, a spinner rack, right? So you only see maybe half of the cover or something like that. And also, quite frankly, when you are going through a back issue bin, I think most comic fans have all been there. You're going through a back issue bin and you're trying to find a particular number. And so when they moved it from that top left corner down to the bottom, or down to, even worse, to the UPC box, and it's like you have to pull every comic out to see, like, what's the issue number on this? That's always a pain.
Yeah, I do, and I do remember that happening.
All right, so we cut open to the opening page, and it is a recap page, which has an image. It appears to be, I want to say, the end of issue 1, but I could be wrong. That's basically Cap holding an infant as he came out of the wreckage. And then it basically starts with previously. So, Bob, like last time, do you want to read the recap for the listeners?
I'd be happy to, Rick. Previously, a year has passed since Captain America was stranded in the wastelands of Dimension Z through the evil machinations of Arnim Zola. Worn down by the unforgiving terrain, hostile locals, and the effects of Zola's experiments, Steve tried to find a way home while also protecting Ian, the young child he rescued during his escape from Zola's lab. But after narrowly defeating a giant mutate, Steve and Ian were captured by the Frox, a primitive tribe native to Dimension Z. The Frox mistook Steve and Ian as minions of Zola, their sworn enemy, and have sentenced them to beheading by Cap's own shield.
I know. Remember how we were like a cliffhanger at the end of the last one?
Yeah, right.
I mean, the last panel itself
Zola
was just black with the sound effect shunk.
Yeah.
And we're like,
right.
It was cliffhanger.
Right. I know it was. We still don't know what happened.
And by the way, I don't know if I got enough credit for my hello to you, Bob. Because not only was it a tie-in with the Z,
yeah,
the lyrics itself were "Take me back, way back home, not by myself, not alone."
Nice,
right?
Yeah,
it's Steve wanting to go home and take it in.
Ian. Yeah,
Yeah.
Huh?
Huh?
I guess I was distracted by the whole tush thing.
So. I guess so. All right. So we get to the next page. And it is Switzerland. Zola Ancestral Castle, 1929. That's a hell of a castle, Bob.
That's a nice place. Yeah.
I mean, that looks like a I don't know, a luxury hotel resort that hundreds of guests would come stay at with the amount of windows and levels that it has.
I think you're referring to Hotel Transylvania. Blah, blah, blah.
It could be.
Yeah.
I mean, the background certainly looks like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
It is very gloomy. And we have someone at the door talking to Herr Zola.
A much younger Zola.
Well, it is 1929.
Than we've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So.
I haven't seen Hilda since 2 weeks back, Nicholas. She came, did her usual half-hearted attempt at cleaning. She left. When she did not arrive for work, I assumed it was from disgrace. She's never been gone for so long, Arnim. Never. She had Herman, our Doberman, with her. I thought he would be protection. They never came home, and she'll be home to you soon, I am sure. And he closes the door on a crying man. Interesting. Two things here. That he has a place that huge, and he only has one cleaning person coming. And two, he enters his own door.
Well, there may be a reason for that, Rick. Yeah. So that's a good catch though about the one cleaning lady for his 1,000-room castle.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that she did it half-ass. She's got to be fast to get through all those rooms.
Then you get a Roomba.
Exactly.
Cricket.
So he's dressed in a black dress suit, the white collar and shirt and everything, and he's walking, but he's leaning. He has a lurch about him as he's walking forward. Wouldn't you say?
I'd say a bit of a stoop. Yes.
Okay. And he's walking by it's got to be a 10-foot tall painting of an old man with a military uniform. Looks like a German, could be, but it is Switzerland, so who knows? And he's walking by and he's waving off the painting of his father. Yes, I hear you, father. My exploration is grotesque to a nobleman such as you. A strong body is acquired through strenuous labor and the hefting of weight. Isn't that so? In this capacity, I was always sure to fail you. You never could understand. Those with adequate intelligence and inventiveness need not seek out excellence through brute strength. Science holds the key to everlasting human perfection. I find the urge to be. She blinded me with science.
I was like, yeah, you sounded a bit like Thomas Dolby there. I have to.
She blinded me. What's science?
Oh my!
What a great song that was back in the day.
Back in the day,
it was a great song.
Back
Listen to it now.
Was a great song.
You're probably like,
what is that?
Yeah. But knowledge hides. Now that is an interesting line. But knowledge hides. I like that. One must roam and play in search of its clues. Each new insight bringing us closer to the key. You see, there is no such thing as a gaffe. Hilda here, for example, a life once destined for insignificance, has shown me many secrets that move us even closer to the answer. And Bob, I'm going to let you describe the room.
Oh, OMG, Rick. I can tell you right now, this what it's almost what three quarters of the page here is disturbing in the least, right? So we're in Zola's laboratory, and it is chock-a-block full of cases and large tubes enclosing all manner of body parts from different species, including humans. So heads and torsos and limbs strung up around the room. There are creatures that are the product of a melding of one or two or more species. And right in the middle, there is one particular one. It appears to be a woman, at least her head, grafted onto the body of a somewhat large dog.
Perhaps a Doberman.
Woof.
And she's in a glass case and is begging for milk, food. And Zola puts his human hand into the glass cage and pets her head like a dog. And she's complaining about it hurting. Not for long. Do not be scared, Hilda. Be proud. You are a link to mankind's perfect future. And then we cut to the next panel, next page, and it is Arnim Zola's robotic mutate non-human arm that is petting the same, like the side of the head, just like he was petting Hilda. And it's the young girl that Cap saw in issue 1 when he was strapped to the table and he saw a young girl, and he's basically got his hand next to her face. And we're now in Dimension Z. I am not ready, Father. You are born ready. You are a perfect physical specimen. This suit, it is so uncomfortable. Without it, you would be a good deal more uncomfortable. It dampens your wonderfully heightened omnisenses, Jet. Now, how would you describe Jet?
Oh my goodness, she's a very young girl. I mean, she's certainly I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10, young, small stature. She only comes up to Zola's waist. She's got dark hair, cut rather short, and you can see that she's got a piece of headgear on, so it definitely covers the back of her hair. So I don't know if it's long in the back, but she's a beautiful young little girl wearing, in this case, what looks to be not an entire suit of armor, but certainly there are some armor plates covering her from the knees down, and in her forearms and her shoulders and upper torso, and around her waist as well. So, and as Zola says here, it's a special type of armor designed especially for her needs.
And how would you describe Zola to the listeners, maybe who didn't listen to the last 2 episodes on this story?
Yeah, well, I mean, he is, as you said, this is not his original organic body, so it is a cybernetic body, and he's his legs and his arms are a sort of a golden armor. He's got purple boots, and his torso from the waist up and his shoulders are purple as well. Where his head would be, there is a camera apparatus. So he has no head on the top of his torso, but in the center of his chest, there is, in this rendering anyway, a 3D, almost holographic representation of his face emerging from the cavity in the front of the chest.
Very nice. And I would say the look on the face is that one of, a reassuring, calming face.
Well, it certainly wouldn't be to me, Rick. He has red eyes. It's sort of a bluish hue to the three-dimensional representation, but his eyes are red. And no, it's not a friendly visage by any stretch of the imagination, at least to my eyes.
Well, I'm just talking about the expression. I'm not saying the structure of his face, but the expression on his face is one of tenderness.
Yeah, when he's looking at this young girl, yes.
Right?
Yes,
it is one of tenderness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a smile playing on his holographic lips.
All right. But I find that interesting, that he's being so tender to this young girl that he considers his daughter.
Yeah, indeed.
Once you master these gifts, you will no longer need the suit, and you will see the stars and hear to the heavens, my beauty. Now, go, excel at the trials. You show your father you are prepared. And she goes through these doors, and it's almost like going out into an arena as a gladiator. And this little girl goes out into there, and there's all these ginormous mutates that are armored up and have weapons that are standing there to basically, it looks like, attack her. And she says, "For what, father? For what do I prepare?" And then the heavy doors are closing between him and her. And you see half his face, and then he no longer has that look of concern. It is now a serious look. For the wretched evil that awaits us all. All right, I just want to stop here because I find it interesting. So we have only been 3 pages into the story, and yet we have had a lot happen. The first 2 pages are set in the 1920s, where we see a human, Arnim Zola, and how he's beginning his experiments. Then we cut to really only 1 page of Arnim Zola and Jet in the current timeline. And it's both of these are setting up the advancing the narrative of the story. Like, I don't think we saw Arnim Zola in issue 2.
No, not in issue 2. No.
Yeah. So I think this is interesting. Like they're trying, Rick Remender is advancing the story because he's got a lot going on here.
Yeah. And he's telling us a great deal about Jet, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we cut back to where we left off to the end of issue 2. And it was when Steve and Ian had their heads on the block, and the dictator was there with Cap's shield, cutting off the head of one mutate, and was about to do it for Ian. And we're in the Franck's cavern, and we cut to a close-up of Steve's eye as he's staring at what's going on next to him. This isn't going to happen. Now, he's got his hands in a handcuffs that in his head on top of a chopping block. So he's in a very, very vulnerable position as he kneels in front of it. Behind him is somebody with a staff with like an electrical zapper that is actually zapping his strength and taking his strength away, but is also hurting him. And he yells, And he says to himself, break the hand. You will not let this happen. And he does. He breaks his hand in order to pull it out of the shackle and out of the glove that was there. And he uses his right hand uses his right arm with the broken hand, and he puts up and he knocks away the staff that was electrocuting him. God is witness. You will see this boy home. And he dives across, grabs Ian away from the block just as his shield comes down and makes that shlunk noise. And he pulls him away. You're going to take care of things. Going to get us out of here. And he avoids a hit, and then he turns and he goes to punch the dictator with his broken hand, Bob. That's got to hurt, right?
That has got to smart, yeah.
Going to find the way. But he gets knocked down. And then an electric, I guess, sword, some sort of javelin, whatever you want to call it. But it looks like electricity, but it is supposed to be solid, appears. And he's about to be hit, but another one of the mutates comes up and, speaking in that language, confronts the dictator. And Ian lays on top of Steve and yells, "Stop!" And they're yelling back and forth and arguing over top of Steve's body. And then you see Steve's inner monologue. Pray that Pym's universal translator does its job. Our lives hinge on it. And that was something that he mentioned in the last episode, that there was Hank Pym created a universal translator that, is hidden on all of the Avengers, uniforms, and he had it in his glove and he had it turned on. And it's calibrating and cataloging and deciphering. And then the words of the protector of Steve translate into, "No servant of Zola. When found him, he was combating mutates. Him, Hurricane. He can help Hurricane mutates for us, Zafstur." Helping me? We'll see. Helping soon, or goes to fields of forever. Hand shattered. Come, Kazoo, help. Thank you. Zola mutates. They die for we live. Then you help. So Cap's been rescued. Now we cut to the next page, and we are in Manhattan, the Lower East Side, in 1930. And we see a young Steve Rogers sitting on the steps on a city sidewalk next to a store that is out of business. And he's got a pad and pencil and he's drawing. Now, Bob, on the front of the store, it says something like, I don't want to say potions, but it may be options, just prescriptions. And then it has X-Lax.
Right.
Now, you said in the last episode, you were going to talk about something about X-Lax. And then I asked you about it and you're like, well, we'll get to it in the story. And then we never got to it. Were you one issue ahead, perhaps?
I don't think so. I think maybe we might have seen that sign before in a previous flashback with Cap, maybe in issue 1.
Okay.
So, but I do recall seeing the X-Lax sign, and I thought, oh gosh, that stuff was good.
Yeah.
You ever have that as a kid?
No, my mom kept it in the refrigerator because she would break off a bar,
right?
When it was something necessary, like and I was like, there's chocolate candy in here.
Right.
And my mom was like, no, you don't want to eat that. That's not, and she would explain it to me.
Yeah.
And so, no, I never had one.
Yeah. I remember, having had that need occasionally as a child. And I don't know if they sell it anymore. So it was always a good trick to play on your friends. So whatever. Yeah.
You would do that to your friend?
I would. Yeah, I would indeed. Yeah.
Oh, Bob, that's not what Cap would do.
That's what Cap would do when he was 12. Yeah. Yeah.
I challenge you on that. We are watching stories here of what Cap would do when he was young, and it wasn't that.
Well, I don't know. You wouldn't do that to an enemy, but certainly play a practical joke on. That brings up a point. I'd ask the listeners if they can think of any time that Steve Rogers or Cap played a practical joke. Is he the type that would be into practical jokes or not? And if is there any evidence that anyone can recall of a time when he played a practical joke?
I challenge our listeners to do that. Yeah, please post in the Facebook group. I think it's a great idea, Bob. I want to know.
Yeah, if you come up with something, I got a little something special I'll send you.
Oh,
yeah, I'm going to sweeten the pot there.
All right. So Steve's drawing away, and he's watching a group of girls on the sidewalk. And then one of the girls notice as her friend points, and she turns and she walks over. Then she sees Steve, and he hides away the notebook. Hi. Oh, hey. What's that you're sitting on? I don't know. Nothing. Can I see it? And he smiles and he hands it to her. And she sees a drawing of her. It's good. My grandpa Ian draws. He taught me. Draw your way out of this dump, I bet. What's your name? Steve Rogers. I'm Deidre Doyle. You used to be in my class, didn't you? You did. Yeah. Why'd you stop going? My dad died. Ma doesn't make enough. I try and be some help. I work, sell papers, do odd jobs. So you're homeschooled? You're so lucky. Mrs. Kavanaugh's a bore. Can't keep my eyes open half the time. Stupid move, Pinhead. And we look. Remember that jerk from last issue, the one who threw a brick in the back of Steve's head,
right? Yeah,
after his dad died.
Yep.
Well, he and his buddies are chasing a kid who was young, small kid, dark hair, glasses, dressed well. Holding out on the wrong guy, Roth. This ain't going to end well. Not after making me run. And Steve's like, Arnie? Wait a minute. Roth? Arnie?
What?
Arnie Roth.
Oh, my goodness. Well, they were boyhood chums.
Yeah, and we finally get to see that. And so Steve starts to go after them. And Deidre's like, Steve, don't. And they go into an alleyway, and there's 4 of them teaming up on poor Arnie Roth. And one's holding him, and the leader is punching him. You were one dumb piece of work, Nancy. Running from me? How else did you see this ending? Show some foresight next time and just give us the nickel. And so Steve and Deidre are there, but she's like, come on. It's simple math, Roth. Even a goon oddball like you should understand the choice. But Steve doesn't listen. And he shows up. Look here, will you, Georgie? What are you doing, Shrimpo? Looking for a quiet place to fill up Deidre? And Steve just goes up and he punches the larger boy. And he doesn't really hurt. He doesn't really hurt him, but he knocks him back.
I don't think he connected, Rick.
Yeah.
I think he swung and missed because the boy just sort of backed out of the way.
But he does fall.
He does.
And he gets up and he ain't happy. Okay. However you want it. Hold that lousy little cockroach. And kid from behind grabs him by the shoulder and the hair. Ow! And he's getting punched in the face and his gut, getting kicked. Pretty gal needs to pick her companions more careful. These limp noodles ain't it, sister. You know what happened to your reputation? You hanging out with Shrimpo and Nancy? I just met him, Hutch. Ain't like we're friends or nothing. And they walk away. She walks away with him. And then one of the boys kicks him while Steve's down. Cheer up. At least you got each other. And so they cut to later, and the two boys are walking down the street, and they're all soiled and in a lot of pain. And then when she left with them, wow. That's a pop in your mug, Rogers. I mean, ouch. Don't you ouch me, Roth. It happened because of you. Happened because I'm a small Jew who let the wrong goons see and I'd saved a nickel for some baseball cards. I'm done getting beat on. Gotta start going to the ring. Learn to fight back. Girls would like you better. Yeah. Why do girls like jerks? What do I know from girls? Aliens, a total mystery. The reptilian brain looking for safety, I guess. Anywho, thanks for being a pal, Rogers. You're all right. You got it. I'm going to go explain this to my ma. Listen to my pops. Call me a sissy. Yeah, not a problem I have. And he walks home. We cut back to Dimension Z. Back home, they'll have given up on me by now, assuming the worst. But not Sharon. Without a body, she'll agonize endlessly, broken and furious at herself for sending me. Home is so impossibly far away. And we cut to what's going on here, Bob?
Well, it looks like, Steve is doing a little painting. And he's painting, Sharon looking beautiful in a pink dress in a park. And while he's doing that and thinking to himself, we've got a couple of the frocks that are in the kitchen with Ian cooking.
I wouldn't say he's doing a little painting. He's doing like a whole wall.
It
like
is a mural. Yeah.
Yeah. But there are things to be grateful for. Kasul and his wife have given us shelter. Ian has food. Painting calms a bug in my head, endlessly predicting the wreckage of the future. But then he grimaces and bends over in pain and yells out. The pain? Papa? I'm all right. Just give me a second. Come, we will get you the crystal water. Help pain. And so they walk out of the home into the cavern where there's a lot of others there, and then goes up to the edge. I'm getting worse. Need to get home soon. Are there other tribes? Maybe they know how to find Zola City. Other tribes gone. Zola's beasts disrupt food chain. Tribes starve. Rocks spared. Have many fish. Hide low in Temple Cavern. Many think protection of terrible Zavjar is reason we survive. He didn't protect you. You protect yourselves. And Cap gets the water. And Kasul gets like some sort of fishing rod and lowers a line into the water. And then Steve says to him, one man isn't an army. You give him his power. You have the ability to take it back for yourself and for your people. To get the people to rise against Zavjar will never be. Fear has taken the hearts. And just like that, Bob, he pulls up a gigantic fish creature that is the size of him Wow, fishing's really easy there. You just put a line in and you pull it up.
Yeah, it has some very large teeth, however.
Yeah, I'm not dehooking that one.
Yeah.
I had to do that. I had to do that for many years, Bob. You know that, right?
Did you?
I was the first mate on my dad's boat for 8 years.
Oh my.
Yes.
You were like his Gilligan.
I totally was.
Yeah.
Yeah. From age 10 to 18, every weekend, spring through fall, I was the first mate on my dad's charter boat out of Delaware. And I hate fishing. I really do.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I had to dehook a fish. And Steve goes on to tell him, it only takes one to rise for others to follow. But coming from behind, yes, then rise. And it's, what's his name? Zofjar. And he takes Cap's shield, his own shield, and hits him in his back and the back of his head, sending him flying. And then Zofjar goes after Casal. This is why you want him to live? To undermine the safety of clan? He is right, Zofjar. You are tyrant. No truth. Tell me. Would tyrant offer swift mercy? And he reaches into his holster, pulls out a weapon, shoots him in the head, killing him. And Steve yells out, no! God, what have I done? Don't let him get off another shot. My fault. Told Kasul to stand up. Told him to die. Move past the building migraine. Show him what the old gal tastes like. And they're battling back and forth, and he gets the shield, and he nails him an uppercut into Zofjar's face. But then the next panel, you see the expression on Steve's face is one of disbelief. All the strength I have, it did nothing. And Zofjar pushes him down, gets the electric rod, javelin, whatever, out of his left hand, and he slices at Steve's chest, and it cuts into him. And Steve yells out in agony, "You defy Zofjar! You disrespect Frox!" And Steve grabs one of those crystals from the ground. Get up. Not just your life on the line. Ian will be alone, stranded here forever. And he hits him in the face. And he says, go down. And then he nails him across the throat. And it's all my fault. And Zofjar does fall. And the other creatures around him start cheering. The Cap grabs his gut, which is just dripping blood. Searing agony. Open me wide. Skin sliding off bone. I lied to Ian. Lying since I got him into this walking nightmare. Lying every time I promised him we'd make it. And he runs away deeper into the cavern to be alone. Every time I promised I'd get him home. Blood. There should be more. Should be. And then we hear a voice coming from down below. Underneath his face. You should be more careful. And we cut to the last page. It is a giant splash page. And Cap looks down, and his entire chest and abdomen area is Zola's face. And says, you must protect your Zola, Herarajas. He is your new closest friend. And Cap looks in disbelief. To be continued.
Come on. Here we are again, Rick, another cliffhanger.
What? He's got a Zola face, just like Arnim Zola.
Yeah, this one has yellow eyes. I don't know if that was intentional or just a coloring.
No, mine looks red.
So does it? Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, on mine.
Interesting. Maybe it's my eyes. Who knows?
I mean, it could be more orange. I don't know.
What does this mean?
Well, remember when he woke up at the end of issue 1 on the table and Zola had been experimenting on him and his chest? Well, apparently he inserted something inside his chest that represents
some nanobots.
Well,
I don't like
you know how like Zola's got the face in the middle of his torso.
Right.
He did the same thing to Cap.
Yeah.
He like inserted himself into Cap's body.
Yeah. It's an odd thing to say, though, isn't it, though? You must protect your Zola, Air Rogers. He is your new closest friend.
Well, closest, I think, was a play on words.
Yeah. Friend?
Well,
I don't know.
We'll see.
We will have to see.
What'd you think of this issue?
I thought it was great. I loved the flashbacks. I particularly loved learning a bit more about Zola's origins and his time as an organic. That's not a time that is explored a lot in the comics. So that was good. I think this is probably the earliest that we get to see Zola in his life that I can recall. So I love that. I love the 2 flashbacks that we had of Steve Rogers as a young boy back in 1930. So that was great. Nice. I mean, amazing to see Arnie Roth.
Yeah.
As a young boy, and that early friendship just beginning to bloom. Curious though about Deidre Doyle.
Yeah, a little double D action there.
Double D. Right, exactly. Yes, exactly. So is that a name that's been used before?
Not that I can remember.
No. Interesting.
She didn't make our top 10 love interest.
She didn't. But it just strikes me as interesting that when she was introduced in this issue, I mean, they gave both her first and last name.
I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
wonder if Rick Remender had something else in mind.
I wonder. Yeah, I wondered that as well. So all in all, great book, right? Interesting. And also, this idea that, Steve put his rescuer's life in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And ultimately caused him to be killed, right? I mean, led to his death.
Yeah, I certainly don't blame Steve. He was trying to inspire him.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that, but time and
place. So we got, like you said, we explored Arnim Zola. We also got to learn a little bit more about Jet.
Right. Yeah.
Right. A lot. This issue went fast, but a lot happened in it.
Yeah. Covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with the favorite panel. Now, you went first last time, so it's my turn to go first. I'm going to go with page 11. And I'm going to go with the panel number 2. This is the flashback to Steve, and he walks up into the alleyway and he goes to punch the bigger bully.
Yeah.
My favorite panel, because here's a weakling Steve Rogers who is standing up for standing up for somebody against the bully. And it just epitomizes what Steve's all about. And so I'm going to say that's my favorite panel of this particular issue.
All right. I kind of have a choice here, Rick, that I'm a bit hesitant to say it, but I'm going to go with that one, that 3/4 panel splash of Zola in his lab. that disturbing one with poor Hilda with her head grafted on a Doberman's body. And it's a difficult and scary page to see, right? But it really encapsulates everything about Zola that is terrifying, that he's so obsessed with the scientific advancement in this particular field that interests him, that there are no costs that are too high for other people to pay for him to, achieve them. And this just really just screams that obsessiveness loud and clear. So it's a disturbing page rendered with, nauseating detail, but it does stick in your mind.
It does. It's one of the stuff of nightmares. It is one of those things. That, right. I may have some bad dreams tonight after seeing that particular panel. All right. Well, good for you. I'm glad it's your favorite one. Weirdo. All right. So of everything that's in here, Bob, what is t-shirt worthy for you?
Oh, I'm going with the cover, Rick.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah,
I love that. I love that action scene of Cap delivering that right cross all up against Zolf's jaw, his jaw, and you can almost, it reminds me a bit of a Rocky fight, where in slow-mo, where you can almost see his the Zolfjaw's jaw kind of shifted to one side as the punch connects and travels through. So it's a great action shot, and it's a little bit unorthodox. We don't often see a lot of Cap on a t-shirt with his cowl off like this, but it'd make a great t-shirt.
All right.
How about yourself?
I'm going to go the exact opposite. Literally, I'm going to the last page, the big splash panel of Steve tearing open his shirt, looking down his chest and seeing Zola's face there. That is creepy. You slap that on a t-shirt, you're going to get some looks.
I think you're right. That's a good, you're definitely going to get some looks, right? What the heck is going on there? Yeah. But it's a beautifully rendered page, and I think that would look great on a shirt as well.
Yeah. People are going to come up to you going, why is there a face on Thor's chest?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what people are going to say. All right. Yep.
I get to do my time capsule.
Yes, you do.
Page 13, panel number 1. So this is when Arnie and Steve are walking all disheveled after their beatdown. And they're walking through the city town in Brooklyn. And they see, you see what's going on behind them. And what you see is a car driving down the street, but going in the opposite direction is a horse pulling a buggy. And so that's a very specific time period where we were transitioning from horse-drawn carriages to motor vehicles. And so I think that's a very specific, you can look at that and go, okay, that's probably a certain decade there, right? Like it is something you could point at and go, okay, that is a specific time. So that, to me, that's going in the time capsule.
I think that's a great one, Rick. And and right behind them is a long line, look like of men lined up for hot meals. So So another thing that this obviously took place during the Great Depression, where there were a lot of soup kitchens and folks lined up around the block to get those meals. So good choice. I'm going to go. I think it's the page before that where the bully refers to Arnie as a Nancy. And that was a particularly offensive slur for a gay man back then. It's not one you hear much used anymore, but thankfully, but it certainly was back then. And so I'm glad that that one has been relegated to the history books and isn't used in contemporary society. It's the more we get rid of those, the better. So
that's interesting because I didn't know that. I thought Nancy was more of her a sissy, somebody who is effeminate and was, weak of some sort. Like, that's how they're being classified. I didn't know it was for someone who's being gay. I never knew that.
Yeah. Well, I Googled it. So.
So it must be true. You found it on the internet? Then.
It's on the interwebs. And according to the Dictionary of Oxford Languages, it is, as a noun, it refers to a gay man. So, and if it says so on the interwebs, it's true.
Uh-huh. Well, you know what? So speaking of Arnie Roth, I think for our next episode, let's go ahead and take a visit to the first time Arnie Roth and Steve Rogers met as adults in quote unquote modern time. That was it. Now in 268 is technically Arnie Roth's first appearance. J.M. DeMatteis wrote Arnie Roth into this story that he was doing as kind of like a side, where Arnie Roth notices Steve Rogers on the streets. But in 270 is where he actually comes up and introduces himself to Steve, and Steve recognized Arnie Roth, his old friend. And Arnie, this issue is a lot about Arnie and Steve's relationship, and they kind of get into that. So I think that'd be kind of fun to visit. It was from 1982 by J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. I'm excited about that, Rick, because Arnie, he wasn't in that many stories, but the stories that he was in were always impactful for me. And I just love the idea that, particularly, now that we've seen that when they were very young, just the fact that Steve has a bit of a connection to his pre-super soldier serum days. Just one person who knew him before the magic happened. To me, that has such an emotional impact, and I'm sure was an important anchor for Steve Rogers as well. So I'm excited to do this one.
Yeah, me too. I think it'd be a lot of fun exploring that relationship. And so we'll come back next episode to cover Captain America 270.
Sweet.
All right. Anything else, Bob, before we call it an episode?
Oh, goodness. No, Rick, I don't think so. I think we've done a good service.
All right. Well, as always, had a lot of fun wrapping Cap with you.
I can't wait till next week.
Okay. He's Bob Lucius. I'm Rick Verbonis. You have been listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. How. Now I want to go listen to ZZ Top.
I know, right? I'm going to put on my headphones, lay in bed. There'll be bleed over. My wife will get mad at me for making the least bit of noise. Yeah, same old story.
No, well, but hey, she could say, like, what are you listening to? And you could say, do you want a pearl necklace?
Yeah, that's what I want, to be slapped before bed.